Hi everyone, this is Rada Duvall with eXp Realty. Home is what I do best is my hashtag, my tagline. And I'm sitting here with the very interesting David Price, owner of the Red Lion Pub.
That's the one, Red Lion Pub, and Three Lions Pub as well, two sister British pubs in the Milwaukee area.
That's right, and so Three Lions Pub is up in
Shorewood. Yeah, Oakland, okay. On Oakland and Kensington, and here is Red Lion Pub in the downtown area on 1850 North Water Street.
And I was so pleasantly surprised to find that it really is like taking a step back into one of England's pubs. And so we were talking about the fact that I lived in England for a little while playing pro basketball, and you did the opposite. So
yeah.
You came to America on scholarship to play football.
Yeah, so you went over there doing an American sport, and I came over here playing an English sport.
And I was thinking to myself, what is it going to be like? Is this going to be an American-owned pub?
Plastic paddy.
And I was so excited to find that we were talking about Arctic monkeys and the streets and all the music that was popular when I was living there. It's so exciting, and all this football conversation.
And Rada got brownie points immediately because she was in the north of England. Anybody?
Sheffield.
In Sheffield, Yorkshire. Now, I'm from Lancashire, and there's a famous war between the two called the Battle of the Roses, and that's how Henry Tudor took the throne of England. But Lancashire did win the Battle of the Roses, for the record. But we are proud Northerners. We are proud Northerners, and I love anybody that's spent any time in the north of England, so I'm really happy Rada was over in Yorkshire.
So we're so happy to have you here. I mean, I'm looking out the windows, which when you come here, you'll see how beautiful the view is. There's a lot of hills. It's almost like we are in England, right?
Yeah, it is actually. I never thought about that. Yeah, no, I've never actually realised. Yeah, we do have the rolling hills down here.
And so, you know, the interior is very beautiful. Like you said, you're wanting to create a very hospitable, comfortable, home-like experience for everyone, and that's what the pubs in England try to do, right? It's somewhere where, as far as I can remember, you know, sometimes my teammates would invite me out, or friends that I met. They go to the pub, and you know, you have a drink. I remember I learned about shandies. You served me, what is this amazing drink?
So this is an Aperol Spritz.
Delicious, and that's the hot thing right now.
That is the hot thing.
You should all try.
An Aperol Spritz, give it a whirl.
Yeah, and so we have these banners hanging over here, which you'll all see when you come in. But those are meant to symbolize football teams, right? And you have a club that you started, and you had a huge, many World Cup, both men's and women's celebrations in the streets here in the suburbs of Milwaukee. Right?
It's 15,000 people on the street.
You did that.
Yeah, we did it. Well, we did it as a team, but the team did it. We couldn't do it without our staff down here.
So tell us about this membership.
So what we do is, to go in just to reference the aspects of the pub, you'll understand what I'm saying. One of the most common questions I got when I first opened up a British pub was, what makes a British pub? Because you often find over here, as you said, you get the plastic paddy bars, as we call them, and you chuck a few shamrocks on the wall, chuck on a few Irish beers or English beers, and you call it an English pub or an Irish pub. But one of the things that I found really make it is when myself and I, Chris, my partner here, when we first got here, we felt as though the pubs tended to be a place where people just went to get drunk. To be honest, a lot of them were there were those divey bars. And I just felt it came with that negative connotation where people didn't feel as comfortable to bring the children and bring the families. And back home to us, a pub, I'll pop in there during the day, you'll be down in the village doing some work, and you'll just stick your head in and see, has anyone seen my mum? Has anyone seen Jamie? I saw him earlier on today. And you pop in and you might just get a glass of water, you might just have a cordial. But you go there into the pub and you learn to socialise with people of a variety of demographics, wealthy, poor, you know, different races. They all come into that community pub, and everybody feels as though that is their second home. But it's that home for everybody in the area, and that's kind of what I wanted to create with our pubs. I wanted a place that originally I was also going to call as Milwaukee's first gastro pub.
Okay.
And the term gastropub was a term coined by a guy from London, and what it meant was, he said, his exact words were, I am a traditional British pub in the sense that it's a community living room, we've got good quality beer, but what makes us a gastropub is it's not just buy and fry, it is, everything is hand cooked. Like here we cure our own bacon, we make our own sausages, we make our own bangers, everything is made from scratch.
Yeah, I can smell it. I mean, it smells great, and you were showing me the exterior, which is also almost equally as large as this space here. And you've got fire pits, and it's kind of elevated.
Yes.
So you have a bit of a view. There's not so much noise.
No.
It's intimate.
It feels hidden, yeah. And that's kind of why I also want, with the new development we've got, we're going to have a lot of reclaimed wood and overhang ivory. So I want to kind of make a little bit of an escapism in the downtown area where you come up, you see your greenery, you feel like you're not slap bang middle downtown, and having that beautiful view of the hills and the river here, I think makes a little bit of a difference. But I did not answer your question, sorry, about the clubs.
Oh yeah, right, the clubs.
So what we did with them is, here is the Milwaukee Spurs, MKE Spurs, which is a southern team, but they have an amazing club. And what we do with that is, here is the Milwaukee Spurs, Tottenham Hotspur, and in Shorewood, it's the Liverpool fans. And to build that kind of community feeling, what we did was, a lot of people will work with reps, and the reps will give you, some swag. You've all had those hats and banners and things that you get given when you're in a pub, and Paddy's there.
Yeah, I'll have to come to the next party.
I'll get you a little scarf. I'm sure I can get you a little scarf. And what we did is we passed to try and help build a club. So imagine somebody like yourself. Let's say you want to start your own basketball club down here, and you can get a group of friends to come. It's in my interest as a bar owner to help support that, because it means you're going to regularly get this crowd of people to come watch a game, which is nothing but good for my business. But how can I make your life easier? Well, I can go to these reps and I can say, hey, I will drive them to your product if you provide them with X. So what we ask our reps to do is we work with a few different companies. We work with Jameson, we work with Fireball, we work with several of the tapped Third Space Brewing, local Milwaukee brewery, they do it. Carlsberg, International in Denmark, they'll work with us on this. And we offer discounts on all those products, and the members get a keychain. So every time they come in, any day of the week, they can use that keychain and they get a $4 pint instead of a $6 pint.
That's like, Whole Foods or CVS or like Red Lion. Here's my
card. Yeah, it is. That's exactly what it is.
And you get a little discount.
And you get a little discount, but it allows those members to feel as though, one of the things that I think is very important in Britain with football, Nietzsche talks about something called a mob mentality, which has its pros and its cons, but what it certainly does is it allows people to feel part of a group and part of a team. And being in America, where you don't have, like in Britain, you'll have seen it, football is on all day, every day, it's on the newspapers, and it's ingrained in you. You're fully aware because you're surrounded by it, but I always say the American soccer fans, they are very educated because we are spoon-fed in Britain because it's on our news, it's in our papers, so you're always up to date. So for an educated soccer fan in America, those people have gone above and beyond more than the average Brit to go and learn about their team. So because they've done that for what I consider to be our home sport, I think it's good for us to help encourage them people and bring them together. And what we do is we provide them with the keychains, provide them with the discounts, so that the club themselves then sell them to their members to build this team. As a result, this has been going on now for, I think we first started this 8-9 years ago, and it's built a regular, every time Tottenham are playing, you've got to come to the Red Lion and you'll see 80 fans all singing, learning the chants, and we do giveaways. Once a year from here, we give 2 people a trip to England to go watch the Spurs
that's
film.
Cool, yeah, and that's happening, you said, around March?
So March is probably when we're going to join it this year, same with the 3 lanes.
And how does it work? You put your name?
As a member, you get a raffle ticket immediately,
cool.
and then throughout the season you can buy raffle tickets to enter more. And then there's a bunch of prizes we give away, but the big one everyone's going is the all-inclusive.
Yeah.
And it includes a free flight, free hotel, and then a game day ticket to Tottenham for the Tottenham fans, and up at 3 Lions Liverpool for the Liverpool fans.
Well, you are really connected, to your culture and the athletes in England, and it seems like you were able to carry that over here. You were mentioning that you met, is it the goalie of the American team?
Yeah, Brett Friedel, the US goalkeeper.
And you have all these amazing
memorabilia.
Yeah, the memorabilia is jerseys, signed jerseys nonetheless, and you know, all the pictures on the wall look like they're from England to me.
Well, the truth is, you'll notice downstairs,
Uh-huh.
everything in that cabinet that you see was in my bedroom when I grew up.
Well, then it was. It is
So
all
it
grown
was.
into it, yeah.
I used to collect corgi cars and it was all soccer memorabilia. And my dad, I feel as though when I've been here probably for about 10, 12 years, my dad just paid for all this shipping company to come and drop everything off that I had in my bedroom, and it's kind of like, get your crap out of my house, son. Take your things.
But that's what all the best parents do. It's like, come on, fly already.
Take it, yeah, that's what it was. And he did, and as a result, here and at Three Lions, all the memorabilia, it's all the things I collected growing up as a child, which, to be honest, I would prefer to share in something like this.
I know you reach a certain age where you're like, you know what, you're detached from the materials and you want to pay it forward somehow.
Yes.
And look what you did.
Yeah.
And so there's this spot and there's Three Lions in Shorewood.
Yep.
And you've created, you know, this camaraderie. You're talking about the mob culture just with those two spots.
Yeah, and well, the nice thing is, when we came here, so originally I came with 5 lads, but what we did was, from this village...
5 lads.
5 lads.
So we have, I just want to point out,
yeah, you got
what I love, having lived in England, is that the restroom doors say lads and lasses, and it warms my heart.
All right, lass. You'll have heard it all the time in Yorkshire as well. All right, lass. How's it going, lass?
Yeah, lass. Good lass.
Good lass.
They
Good
say,
lass.
yeah, we're like 20 years old playing basketball, and they're like, good lass. Way to go.
That's what it is. Go on, lass.
I love it. No, it's so sweet. It is very like familial,
endearing,
and warm.
And sometimes I don't know if you, as a female, that's something I have to navigate coming from the north of England, especially in this day and age. And you could probably advise me better than most. For me, it's very. My aunties would say it to me, it's not a female-male thing back home when you hear the word darling, sweetheart, love.
Love. Yeah, everyone calls each other love. Hey, love.
Oh, pet. All right, pet.
I don't remember
So
that.
get
What
pet.
is it? Pet? Pet? No.
Yeah, that was a common one.
Maybe they felt like, well, these Americans, we better stick to love. Or, you know, lass.
Yeah, love a lass. But to me, when I got here, now I have to, with my own staff, obviously when you're working with the female staff at times here, I have to, like, can I say love?
Right.
Can I say love? It's patronising in this day and age.
And so, well, how does that work?
I still do it. I'm northern, because I can't, I mean, I hear it to myself. It's not a male-female thing. Like, and my granddad, my grandma will say to me, you're all right, sweetheart, you're all right, love. Any old lady in the street that sees me, how are you, love? You're all right, darling. And it's not, to me, it's just a term of endearment.
Well, I personally think that's the right mentality. I mean, that's part of British culture.
Yeah.
And everything about this place just exudes that same feeling, and you know, it's like taking a step back into England, which is beautiful. Even the furniture is beautiful.
Yeah, so funnily enough, these chairs, when we took the property, we didn't buy these originally. These are hand carved, which might be why we ended up having to buy the building, because they spent a little too much money, I think. These were hand carved in Ireland. These are $300 a chair. The high ones were $5. I was like, guys, I don't think the Americans care that much that it's hand carved in Ireland.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
It does. It everything about it, everything you've invested into this place to make it what it is, we can feel it.
Good.
You know, it's beautiful.
Good.
Yeah, the different levels of the bars and everything. The location. So, you know, I am a realtor sponsoring this page for Parkbench. Okay, so my husband and I are real estate investors.
Did I see you doing some open houses next door a couple of weeks ago?
Possibly.
I think in the apartments I might have seen you coming out doing some open houses.
Yeah, possibly. What was I saying about that? Oh, your location. So, you know, you are exactly 4 minutes from me driving. Yeah, so we're River West. Okay. Yeah, cool. And I was like, oh, I got to get there. How much time do I have? You know, did the little GPS and Google Map, and it was like 4 minutes. And I'm like, this is awesome. I love it. So walking distance, what is it, like 10 minutes? You know, just across the bridge. So
we're across the pond. It's just across the street.
That's right.
That's
but I mean, location in terms of, you know, it's tucked away a little bit, but yet it's central, and everyone can get to it, and that's so important.
And you've hit the nail on the head. That's so again, when I've seen that you were looking to do this interview, I was really happy, because one of the things you were talking about is building community.
Right, supporting one another. People need to know about this. They do, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're off the beaten path here.
But I knew about it because my husband loves this place. But now that I've actually taken a step inside to the history, which you've told me about here, and I want you to talk about a little bit.
I'll tell you about the history of the building as well. There's some rich history here.
Yeah, I want to know, from a real estate standpoint, I'm interested to know, did this look like this at all?
We got, to be honest, when the broker guys that owned this prior to us, they were Irish, so they had an Irish concept. So they came to us because they were kind of, they'd done such a good job on a lot of the elements of the building, and that needed a lot of work when they got it, because the basement needed to be filled in because of the water issues coming down from this hill.
Okay, waterproofing.
Yeah, they needed to, so they spent a lot of money on it when they first got here. So a lot of the stuff that was already here was a natural transition for us. A lot of it was kind of bringing away from the Irish branding and more onto the British branding as a result. Cool. But we did a lot of work when we got in here on fixing a lot of the existing stuff, but the thing that made me happy when I got here was a lot of the old school, so this building was built in 1856.
Awesome.
And the Gullen Tanneries factory was across the street here, and the Gullen Tanneries factory is the second largest tannery in the entire world.
Wow.
Yeah, it's huge, and I went down to the Milwaukee Historical Society to do some research on this building, and I found that it has had a continuous liquor license since 1856. And yes,
that's amazing. Those aren't easy to get.
No,
right?
no, and even during Prohibition.
Right.
Yeah, because there was a tide house. So Chris and I, at the time we bought this, we bought Trocadero, that building. So I was doing some research on both buildings, and there's also our events director. She used to work for Broker, and she used to tell me about this girl that she would always see walk up and down the stairs. She'd see her go up the stairs but never come down. This lady in old clothing. And so obviously, as a good British pub should always have, there was a ghost knocking around, right? And sure enough, I looked into this, and you can see this lady buys into the family. During Prohibition, we keep the liquor license. Like, the bar kept the liquor license, but the way it kept it was it became a soda shop, and then it became a pharmacy, where during Prohibition, what they used to do back then was bitters are alcoholic, but bitters were medicinal. So they called themselves a pharmacist. You could come in and you could drink shots of bitters. And that's how they kept the license through the Prohibition. And sure enough, you see the lady at the time, there was only downstairs, and she lived up here on this floor. Where we are sat right now is in her house. So on the first floor, that was where the pub was. So people would leave the tannery, they'd come drink there. Around the 1930s, she'd already got this side, but in the 1930s she added an extension on down there, and from that extension she built a second floor where she added another tenant, and then around the 1950s, that's when she kept the bedsit over here, but she opened up the bar on that side too for a second floor. So I was
brilliant,
and she was really good.
This woman.
I know, and that lady as well. What you do notice is she marries into the family, then all of a sudden the husband passes away. Then she seems to partner with his brother, and then he passes away, and then all of a sudden it's her last name, and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but her last name is then on the pub. I'm like, ooh.
Sharp cookie.
Yes, she was.
I mean, that's what she was, and so are you. I mean, it's good that you've done your research and gone to the Historical Society. I would like to do that myself. We're renovating a home in River West.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, and my husband, he builds, so he's a contractor. And we found like 100-year-old shoe in the wall, okay?
You never.
Yeah.
How did you
So I want to bronze it, I think.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
And maybe, you know, some people on the lake have like sculptures in front of their homes? Well, I'm River West. So I would put like my little bronze shoe in the front. Why not?
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that.
But the point is, I wanted to go to the Historical Society and really get the history of this home, because supposedly it's the original farmhouse, right? Of River West.
River West.
Yeah. So all I know is our garden groweth. Like every summer we plant seeds in our garden and our tomatoes bloom. But I went on some of the garden walks in River West, and you know, I met people growing beautiful produce right at home. They're like, no, mine was the original farmhouse, because we say, oh yeah, we own, you know.
Oh, so there's a big debate in River West.
Now it's like, so I was like, I know who will know.
Now is it
the Historical Society?
Yeah. Is it true as well? So whereabouts are you on River West?
So the house we're renovating is in the north. It's Pierce Street.
Pierce.
Between Townsend and Concordia.
Right. Well, I live on Humboldt and Rye, and there was my neighbours trying to convince me that it was an Indian burial ground. Right there.
Oh, really?
Because apparently the main tribe, you know, when you have where the gig is in River West, there's that walk down to the river. Apparently that is where a lot of the one of the old which tribe was it in the area? I'm not certain.
Yeah, the gig is off Humboldt on that east side of Humboldt. Right?
Yeah,
that's a great place for live music.
Oh, it's good there. Yeah, really good. The soul blues bar.
So that was a burial ground. I didn't know.
Yeah, apparently it was. But one of the things you'll probably understand in this area that I've seen is I never planned on coming down to Water Street. I know a lot of people would say when we first opened, why'd you pick Shorewood? And one of the things that I picked about Shorewood was there was nothing there, and I used to be in Britain, and during college I bartended there with my partner at the Britain, and me and him had said to people that were telling us, the naysayers were like, you're crazy for opening up in Shorewood, and I said there's a need there, there's a community atmosphere like my village where people will support it.
So close to the lake.
Exactly, and people, and if you encourage the families to come to the bars, I think that's a lot of the problem in the past where it's just been a place to go drink. I want a place for families to come, bring your kids. I grew up from that age. You go to the pub, your dad's having a pint with his friend, your mum is, and you're going out into the garden and you're kicking a can around, but you're learning to talk. So I always noticed when I got here, I felt as though many of the kind of 16, 17, 18-year-old kids
antisocial.
Outside their own demographics.
And see, I was raised by a European grandma as well. And she was in the house and she cooked and she would make us, if company was coming over, she'd say, "Postavite," in Serbian, which means say hello. And the boys had to extend their hands. And you learn that from a really young age. And 3 kisses are Serbian, just like 2 is Italian. Or I don't know.
We stick to one. A lot of people tell it's 2, but in reality, let's just do the one. We'll just do the one. Yeah, I think it used to be 2, but I think in the modern era it's just become that one. It's just become one on the cheek.
Exactly. But there is something to that, and so you're definitely, you're able to engage right away, probably with anyone.
Yeah.
Which is something that I kind of pride myself on too, having been raised by 3 parents, grandma and mom and dad.
Absolutely. And then in that communal atmosphere where I'm sure your family would invite the Serbian community around as well.
Oh, absolutely. We were like a revolving door at home.
Yeah.
It was always just, if someone feels that someone might need company or they need a cup of coffee, and there we were, and you kind of just, you host.
And when again, talking to you, thinking about your grandma's position with me, that's something with me. I left my family, I left my safety, I left that, and I wanted to build that here. And I know what that is for other foreigners coming here, other British people coming here that feel isolated. You kind of feel as though you can share stories of home, but you bring them in to feel part of something. Amazing. And I think that's the other thing you find in Milwaukee as a city as a whole. It is a very mixed city of immigration from all over Europe.
Oh, absolutely. Not only is it mixed, but the quality of Europeans that came here and built this beautiful city.
The engineering.
The architecture, the engineering. My husband and I, we lived in Chicago and we did real estate there. And it's also, of course, it's a beautiful metropolitan city. But he's from the east side.
Oh, yes.
My husband, yes. And he said, hey, we've got to look at Milwaukee, And you just have these grandiose, beautiful fortresses, built back in the day, and they're not going anywhere. And you just get so much, for lack of a better expression, bang for your buck here than you do in so many other American cities. The food is great, the soil, the farms. I talked about that with Scout Winery, because they're big on researching soils and what types of grapes, to fill their wine club as well. So, and they're in Shorewood. So
I know Scout. Yeah, the good guys as well. Really nice guys.
Yeah. So Shorewood definitely was a smart move, but I think this is
here for me. This was the thing when this came to us. I'd always shied away. Brady Street. I don't want screaming. Let's do Jaeger bombs, man. Jaeger bombs. Everyone's screaming, and I did that. I bartended that. I wanted. When I opened something that was mine, I wanted to take pride in building a community. And when we took this was the unique one for me. It was kind of that, actually, look at the look at the residential around here. Look at the apartment buildings. With this spot here, is actually, it turns out, I believe Mike Idle rang me after we bought Chocadero off him. He went, pricey, I've just done some research. Did you know that Chocadero on Red Line is now the most densely populated bars in the state of Wisconsin? I'm like, no way. He goes, yeah, because when you do, I think he'd done a 2-mile search, and it's because of the apartments. And what I found on this street that I was happy about, not like Brady, not like Water, I found this is where we can hit that residential area, where we can build the one thing that I wanted. I want the community living room. And I want that pub where it's not just for people coming in from out of town to go do some Jaeger bombs on the wedding, on the bachelorette party. It's for the guy that's just finished work. He's popping in for a pint before he goes home to see his family. And then on Friday he's bringing his family in. And that's what I wanted in this. And this corridor just, I think, provided for it. And I knew that the development was going on with Green King over here. They were meant to be building here. I don't know if you know anything about what's going on with that.
Which one?
So Green Cafe, who built the apartment building there, they were meant to be doing the duplicate right here. Now I've heard that it's not going there, which I'm really happy because it means I still get my river view. But they might be building right there on that corner.
This is beautiful.
It's nice, isn't it?
But I'll find out.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice spot. But yeah, the thing that I liked about here was definitely the fact that this pub provided what I'm hoping to continue to be that one pub downtown, and not that one because you've got the County Clare. There's some other good pubs in the area that have that local neighbourhood vibe as well. And there's plenty in River West.
Yeah, well, so this is a, as you said, a proper pub, and you've got the food. So would you call it a gastropub?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason I didn't call it gastropub though was because when we first opened, Rumpus Room was opening up, and everybody knows Bardelardas, nobody knows Brassy and Tick.
Right.
So, and then when you look at their menu, it was $25 entrees, which is not what a gastropub is. It's scratch-cut food served at bar prices. So I didn't want people thinking that had not been to Rumpus Room, and that's now what they consider a gastropub, to come here and think that it's going to be a $25 entree.
I mean, I love River West. I think it's a great area for us, at least. It's central as well, and you can get everywhere. And we have breweries walking distance.
Yes.
But there's definitely a difference between a brewery and a pub.
A
gastropub.
Yeah, I agree.
Or just a pub. Let's call it just a pub.
Yeah.
And there's just different feel. You kind of offer what someone might be able to offer from home.
Yes.
Which is amazing. So, okay, can we just if you want to say something about that, do it. But you have to touch on the fact that all these world-renowned authors were inspired by the northern regions where you come from. And kind of lived. Right?
18 years.
Say something about that briefly.
So I come from the northwest of England, and when you come to the pub, you will see some pictures on the back here. From within, every picture here is either taken on my doorstep or within 2 miles. And there's a particular, so I lived in Morley, and right next to a monastery that was built in 500 AD. During the Reformation, Oliver Cromwell came through and he burned the abbey down. It was one of the big abbeys. Whalley Abbey. Whalley Abbey. And what he did on the way from Whalley, he left Whalley, and you'll see there's a bridge going over to this other school.
Oh God, it's so beautiful.
And on that bridge, it's called Cromwell's Bridge.
Cromwell's Bridge.
Oliver Cromwell.
Yeah.
And Oliver Cromwell, there's a school here you see called Stonyhurst College. And Stonyhurst College is in the village next to me that's about 1.5 miles away. And it's called Hurst Green. Now, J.R. Tolkien, he sent his son to this school, and if anybody opens up the beginning of
my daughter's reading it right now.
Is she really?
Yeah, she's 10. I'll bring her in to have a burger or something.
Go on Google.
What does she get? Fish and chips?
Fish and chips, or a shepherd's pie would be a good one as well.
Shepherd's pie. Okay, go on.
So if she opens up The Hobbit at the beginning, she'll find a map of the Shire. If you tell her to go on Google Earth, she can go to her screen and she can lift that map up and she can lay it down on Google Earth. And so Tolkien, when he sent his son to the school, he basically was creating The Hobbit, and he was thinking, because you've seen it in the northwest of England, it's lots of rolling green hills.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Which fits right in with the Hobbits and the Shire.
And stone walls,
yes.
And cobblestone roads, and dirt roads, and everything is just ancient and beautiful.
Yeah.
And what did you tell me about the date here? This is circa 500
So
AD.
the Abbey is 500 AD, well it's 497 is the Abbey.
497.
And the school itself, I believe, was built around the 13th century, so the 1200s. And Oliver Cromwell has his name engraved in there. J.R. Tolkien sent his son there based to share on there, and then one for the younger people out there. J.K. Rowling sent the American film crew to this school as her basis of what Hogwarts was based on. Yeah,
my fashion idol.
Yes, yes, and this school here, it's kind of a famous school in the UK. It's a very, very formal boarding school where everybody has their clubs, and it was all males up until 2016. Then he started letting the ladies come.
Wow. Considering what you told me about the woman who kept this pub alive,
yeah,
that was good.
She was a boss. She was a boss lady.
And now we have Harry Potter because of another brilliant woman. Right?
Yes, we do.
So you've told us so much. You're just a wealth of knowledge, and you're so fun, and you're a great host.
Yeah.
How often are you here or there?
I'm always between the two. I like to say, to be honest, when I first got here, Chris and I, we genuinely, now we own our buildings and our properties, but when we first got here, genuinely, I worked my backside off because I moved to Asia after I'd finished my undergrad, and I lived in South Korea and Busan. And then I came back from, I backpacked Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, because when I was in Southeast Asia, I was teaching English, and then I got to play professional soccer, then I started doing some kickboxing, and I ended up saving up a bit of money, so it allowed me to go doing some backpacking around Southeast Asia.
You are multifaceted.
Yeah, it was I was just I could adapt to many situations.
Okay, well, I'm coming back. I want to hear more stories. So tell us, what is the next, sort of opportunity or event coming up that people should be aware of? In March, you said, is the raffle for the tickets to the Cup?
To go to England. So it's an all-inclusive. You get 3 nights in London, your flight paid for, you get to go to a game, you get your hotel paid for. And then normally what we do, to be honest, Rada, is we end up, I talk to the person that's going, and because we cover 3 days, I usually end up saying, do you want to stick around for a few minutes? And they'll say, yeah, listen, we'd like to stay for 2 weeks, so we'll pay for what they say. We'll either book the hotel for 2 weeks and we'll pay more, or they'll do the 3 nights with us. I'll book the flight to come back maybe 2 weeks later, and then they just travel around the country. So that's going on. We do that at both pubs, but this we've got a royal.
Christmas coming up.
We've got Christmas. We have a Christmas party here on Tuesday. Tuesday's at Three Lions. Here we have a royal New Year's Eve party.
Cool.
So it's going to be royal themed. We're doing all you can drink packages, and everybody's got to come looking rather regal in whatever century outfit they would like to look regal from.
That is so cool.
So we're doing that, and then we've done a few different theme ones. We've done the royal parties. We've done a Great Gatsby party in the past. We did a Peaky Blinders one year.
I feel like something led me here. This is like exactly where I should be right now. At this point in time.
Yes, you're from the north of England, and you've lived in the north of England. You're one of us now. You know what it's like.
Yes, snuck into a horse farm when I was living in England. I took a walk. I was bored. I'm an athlete. You have to create your own fun in northern England.
Yeah, you
right?
do. All that countryside.
So I snuck into. It was dark. It was dark, late at night. I had to climb over like this short rock fence, rock wall, and I'm walking through this pasture, and there were all this stillness. There were these big forms of some sort, right? And as I came closer, one of them moved and like turned their head toward me. They were horses, I believe, or maybe even like bulls. I have no idea. With capes on.
I was picturing druids. I thought you were going to tell me there's some old druids, ghostly druids looking at you.
That would be even cool. Maybe it wasn't. No, but the horse moved, and it was like this exhilarating feeling, like, oh my God, I'm so naughty, but I gotta get out of here. So I like ran out, and I wrote my uncle a note, because he was a rebel too, and I was like, look, this is what I did, isn't this cool?
I broke into a horse farm.
I broke into a horse farm.
I'm telling you, you're officially northern. You are officially northern because you cannot be from England and not have broken into some sort of farmhouse, got a chase from a farmer, gone into some chicken coops and got scared by some animal that's jumped out on you.
Yeah.
One time we were running through a field, I had a friend, we were genuinely getting chased by a farmer because we've been playing in all these pens.
Yeah.
And I had a friend, and I didn't know he was narcoleptic. And we're running and running and running. I'm looking back, and me and my brother are sprinting, and we're giggling, and this farmer's chasing us. And all of a sudden, my friend, he's giggling. We get to this barbed wire fence. We jump it. I'm laughing at my friend. He keeps giggling, and he just falls asleep, and he lands right on the barbed wire fence. So me and my brother, we grabbed him by his arms and his legs, picked him up, carried on running, threw him into the bushes, and went and hid in the bushes while he was sleeping. And the farmer came looking, and we're like, don't wake up, Dale, don't wake up, please don't wake up, don't wake up. Sure enough, the farmer went right past, and then Dale woke up.
Oh my gosh, okay, we have so many more stories to share. And
yes,
and you should come, and hopefully, David, if you're here, your clientele will have the pleasure of meeting you.
I'll have them come by, please,
and
come by.
just listening to you speak, it's nice to hear a foreigner. You know, we're mostly American here, and despite, like you were saying, diversity and socioeconomic backgrounds, we all kind of speak and sound the same way.
Yes.
But it's fun to hear you talk about your life, and you have a very interesting life.
And the connection, so you come here as well, the other beauty is, what we did when we got here, we recruited, genuinely, I would say there are around 20 people from my village, from within my village or town next to me, that came over, because we recruited more that with younger lads after we came continuously
to play football,
to play soccer at Carmel Stretch.
Right.
And so they came over. So when you do come here, you will find, you're always going to find some Brits, and you're always going to find some other Europeans that came on soccer scholarships, because we keep a tight connection with Carmel Stretch. And I know what it's like to be 18, leaving your family, coming to this place in the middle of nowhere. And of all the places I've been to in this country, I can definitely say there is this area in the Midwest. To me, it is that friendly, heartfelt area that really does fit in with kind of that northern English mentality. There is the family social culture that exists in the Midwest that you don't really find to the extent elsewhere.
Absolutely. Well, you know, the people that make up Milwaukee, I've lived everywhere. I mean, California, my family lived when I was young. My parents are from Chicago. You know, my grandmother's Serbian, so I've traveled Europe, you know, but I'm here. Why am I here? There's a reason, you know. I mean, it has everything to offer. It's close to the big city. It is a beautiful city with so much culture and symphony and shows, the arts, the farms, the cheese. You know, it's very European in a way. It
is, and there's plenty. And the other beauty is you can hit the road here and you can find so many cool gems. I went out to recently, I've been here for 13 years till I found out about the Cave of Mounds, the House of Rocks up in Green, where the architect, Frank Lloyd Wright.
Oh, Taliesin?
But it's in Green, is it called Green Lake?
Well,
Green Lake?
It's near Mineral Point, because I've gone there with my husband, and that's also a beautiful little town. Ulysses Grant is from there, actually.
Oh, it's
one
really?
of our generals. Yeah, but it's hilly, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's near Galena.
Yeah, Galena. In fact, Mineral Point, did you know that's where we got the nickname the Badgers from?
No, I didn't.
So what happened in Mineral Point, when all the miners came over, they actually, a lot of them came from Cornwall in England, which is why you will find pasties in the north of England. They recruited them.
That flag that they have.
Yes.
It's black with the white cross.
Yes. That stems from the Cornwall. Yep.
I have that flag.
And we got the nickname Badgers because in Mineral Point, a lot of people in the hills, they used to dig into the hills, and they would live in the little hills that they dug in, and they were like badger holes. And that's how we ended up getting the nickname the Badger State. It wasn't because of the animal at all, it was because of Mineral Point and because of all these miners coming over, living in these little holes up there. But I was saying, if you leave Milwaukee, it's like you disappear and you find some really cool places. As I said, House on Rocks, Cave of Mounds, and I'm still finding things in this area that's just little hidden gems.
Like I say to many of the businesses that I interview, everything that we need is right here.
Completely.
And this whole concept of supporting one another locally, hyper locally in our community, is about that very point. It's just like, look what we have just within like a 5-mile radius, you know, including Shorewood.
Completely.
River West, the east side here, like right near the city. What don't we have? What more do we need? Nothing really.
Every friend of mine that comes from the likes of New York, everybody that comes out to visit me from New York comes from California. They all tell me that they'll come here, they'll be like, do you know what's one of the, I never thought Milwaukee would be like this, is always the first thing they say. And then it's like, and then you've got like the same, you've got more bar districts than most of the big cities, but you've got the hoity-toity bars, you've got the dad bars, you've got the student areas, you've got the trendy areas, you've got the hipster areas, you've got all these parts, but it only takes you 5 minutes to get there, and when you get there, the cost of anything that you're buying is half the price of elsewhere.
The quality of life here is the best I've found so far.
For the cost of living, yeah, I totally agree. Right now, Chris and I have just bought a property on Prospect that we're Airbnb-ing, and the reason we're doing that is because Airbnb have actually announced in the last year, I thought this might happen, Milwaukee is genuinely the most profitable city in the world for Airbnb because of the fact you go to New York, your property costs you $800,000 for a property that you're only getting $200 a night,
right.
Whereas in Milwaukee, that very property that you're getting $200 a night for costs $200,000.
Exactly, and that's why we're here as well. And from the real estate standpoint, in Chicago, what you can get here versus there is drastically different. And you get so much more, again, bang for your buck. And the house we're living in now, while the renovation's occurring, we own and we're going to Airbnb too. And that's a frat name.
We'll have to partner up on this too. We'll have to do some back and forth on this.
I met a girl recently at the Pfister who was like, really cute girl, just graduated from UW. We're like, what do you do? What are you doing here? You know, she looked nice. She had her dog with her. I was like, what's going on here? She looked like a little, just a beautiful girl. And she was like, I manage Airbnbs. And I was like, give me your number.
Did you really? And I think, especially right now, what people like you and I are battling, and I think it's getting worse and worse due to the political corporate engagement that exists, that it should not be allowed, but that is allowed. It's difficult to be a small business owner, particularly when the government's making you handle more to satisfy them than it is to actually work on your business, and corporations don't have that. And I feel it's very important for people like yourself. This is why when I'd seen you were doing this, I'm like, fantastic. Let's share this everywhere, because we need those small businesses working together.
No, absolutely. And so that's what we're trying to create here. But yeah, I find that, I lost my train of thought, but I was going to say other people have mentioned the same thing. I mean, some consider themselves medium-sized businesses or small businesses, but they're saying the same thing. Like, it's really up to us to help support one another locally. But anyway, on that note, please take a look at our interview and others on parkbench.com, Lower East Side, or parkbench.com, River West. They'll all lead you to all of these wonderful interviews, but particularly this one with David Price, aka Pricey, now that I know that.
Yep, Pricey, come on down, come see Pricey.
And where else can they get information about what you're doing?
To keep up to date, honestly, always keep an eye on our social media, on Facebook, 3 Lanes Pub Shorewood, Red Line Pub Milwaukee, or you can go to redlinepubmke.com, 3lanespub.com, or our Instagram page, our Facebook. We've always got good new events. Last weekend we had this wonderful band. They're American, but they do this 90s, they do Britpop, it was called, and they did 90s Britpop. And I'm telling you, nobody had heard this band. They're amazing. Yeah, you missed out. It was pub, but 90s Britpop.
That's what I listen to when I run.
Oh, you loved it.
Park.
Really? Oh, you loved them. They're fantastic. But we've always got live music. We've always got things coming on. And if you ever, what we do with our menu as well, it's the best of British food. Some of these are my mum's recipes that my chefs have since tweaked. But we've got my mum's recipes, and what we try and do is we've got the traditional British food with the best of the American pub food. So come on down, try it all. And make sure you take care of Rada. Come check out her properties online. Take a look at everything she's got. Because I'm sure it's going to be in this area, so then you can have a nice pub on your doorstep when you buy off her.
I want to walk to my listings.
There you go. Come on down and see us. When you buy a house off Rada, come and see us down at Red Lion.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you. And we're Northern now. You're officially a Northerner. Don't forget that. You're Northern English.
I know where I'm coming for my next chippy.
Proper chip. Now, can you say? You got to say, toodaloo, love.
Toodaloo, love.
Toodle bit.